Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Dambho Darpo Bhimanascha.
Dambho Darpo Bhimanascha.
Krodha Parusham Evacha.
Krodha Parusham Evacha.
Ajnanam Chabhijatasya.
Ajnanam Chabhijatasya.
Partha Sampadam Asurim.
Partha Sampadam Asurim.
This chapter is a discussion of the divine and demoniac natures. These are the two prominent or basic natures that are seen in human society. In modern psychology, means the study of human nature, they don't see in terms of right and wrong, because according to their demoniac philosophy or understanding, there is no ultimate right or wrong. But nevertheless, they can understand. They talk about disordered personality. It means out of order. They're not behaving properly. Someone who flies into a rage over a small issue or over for no reason whatsoever, or who is actually some of the things some of the normal human characteristics they classify it as a personality disorder. Just like some people are by nature shy or introvert, but in modern psychological understanding, this is some kind of social integrating deficiency or something like this. So there are many courses in the modern age on personality development. But the best book for personality development is Bhagavad-gita. Because the first thing the Bhagavad-gita teaches us is who our personality actually is. People, everyone looks up to some leader. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tad tad evetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. Think of the translation. Now, if we study Bhagavad-gita, we will become inspired to become a great saintly person like Arjuna. But in the modern age, the great personalities who people aspire to be like are famous businessmen or sports stars or cinema stars and so on. Who is great? Is one who has a lot of money great? Is one who is very famous great? Who is really great is one who can control the senses. So many people, they conquered great tracts of land, but they could not conquer their senses. So one who can overcome this dambho darpa vimanascha krodha parusham evacha ajnana, one who is free from these bad qualities, that person is a great person. Now, in modern psychology, there are different schools of thought, and some so-called scientists, they think that human nature is especially dependent upon one's genetic inheritance, and others stress more on the culture that one is born into, that shapes one's character. According to the version of Bhagavad-gita, both of these factors are very important. In this verse of Bhagavad-gita, the qualities acquired at birth are being stressed. Ajnana chabhijatasya refers to those who these qualities are born with them, these bad qualities. And similarly, there is a description of those who are born with good qualities. Now, this is not what the modern scientists would call genetic factors, but it is according to the consciousness which one has developed in a previous life. Karmana daiva netrena jantur deho papataye. Srimad Bhagavatam states that every living being in this world gets a body according to his previous activities and according to the direction of the Supreme Lord and the demigods. So we get what we want and what we deserve. Someone may want to be a big leader, but in this life he doesn't have the karmic accruement to become a great leader. So that desire may be fulfilled in the next life, and he may become a great leader among the dogs in the street. If his desire is to become a great leader, but his activities are sinful, then he may become a great leader among the dogs in the street. When he runs in the street, all the dogs will respect him as the most powerful. And the satisfaction he gets is the same satisfaction as a big political leader gets from having people kowtow to him. So association is also important, but generally people of godly nature are born in godly families. Shuchinang Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate. Those who are yogis but who fall from the path, they are born in families of brahmanas or pious Vaishyas and continue in that atmosphere to execute pious activities. And sinful people are born in sinful situations. Formerly, all over India, the caste discrimination was very strong. And actually there was some basis to that, because generally it's understood that one who's born in a Brahmin family that's due to pious deeds. And one who's born in the family of Chandalas, that's due to impious deeds. There are other considerations though. Rakshasim Kalimashricha Jayante Brahma Yonishu. One consideration is that in Kali Yuga, many Rakshasas become born in Brahmin family. Another consideration is Kalo Shudra Sambhavaha. In Kali Yuga, everyone's on the level of a Shudra. And it's actually a symptom of Dambha, Dharpa, Abhimana, Krodha, all these bad qualities that certain persons who were of higher caste used that situation to oppress the lower castes. So the whole situation in Kali Yuga is very confused as the increment of demoniac population increases. In the modern age, everyone is encouraged to be more and more selfish and exploitive. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Parasya, Agyana, these are all being promoted as desired qualities. If someone is not greedy to make lots and lots of money, people think, what's wrong with you? We see that young people from relatively pious backgrounds in South India, they go to Bangalore and they get a job in some big multinational corporation. And they deliberately try to change them and say, now you go and have girlfriends and get drunk. And they take them to parties and encourage, now you must drink alcohol. If they don't want to do that, then they're scorned for not being sinful. Of course, our devotees who work in multinational corporations, they don't get involved in this. Due to understanding the message of Bhagavad-gita, they don't want to be entangled in sinful reaction. They are protected by that commitment to Krishna consciousness and by the strong association of devotees. Nevertheless, we don't recommend that devotees, they just take any occupation anywhere. Our association is very important. I didn't say satsang, I just said sangha. If one is a very strong demon, then even if he gets good association, he won't change. If one is a very strong devotee, then even in bad association, he'll remain a devotee. Just like we see that Duryodhana, Karna, they had just as much opportunity to associate with Krishna as did Yudhishthira and Arjuna. But they chose not to. They were very staunch demons, as Prabhupada used to say. Dridhamana Asura. Matena Krishna Paratasvatova. What's the next line? Mito Vibhadyeta Griha Vratanam. Griha Vrata. Yes, I'm going to be a demon. Adanta Gobhir Vishatanta Misrang Punah Punas Charavita Charavananam. Okay, give the translation. Matena Krishna. They have decided, I am not going to be Krishna conscious. I'll go to hell, no problem, but I'm not going to chant Hare Krishna. Even if they get good advice from others, they won't take it. When they get good advice, they think it's bad advice. Vidura was always giving Dhritarashtra good advice, and then he would agree, but then again Duryodhana would come and say, why do you listen to that rascal for? Similarly, one who is a very strong devotee, even in bad association, they will not be changed. We find that in the school of Shanda and Amarka, it's not the Gurukul, we can call it that, the Asurakul, they were trying to teach Prahlad all the demoniac activities, how to control the political adjustment. Sama, Bheda, Dana, Danda. These are the 4 stages. You try to pacify your enemies, you try to then divide and rule, then bribing or offering a post. And if that doesn't work, kill them. But Prahlad wasn't interested. He would smile because he is Prahlada. Prahlada means very happy. But he wasn't happy at the prospect of being the ruler of the universe. His happiness came from remembering Krishna. We sing Prahlada Hlada Dayane, means that we are offering respect to He who is the giver of happiness to Prahlad, which means who is very happy. So even though Prahlad was born in a demoniac family, by association with Narad Muni in the womb, he became a great devotee. And then he was immovable. But most devotees are not, they don't have that kind of fixed determination in devotional service. Another famous boy saint in the Puranas is Dhruva Maharaj, who is now residing in the Dhruva Tara. So Dhruva Tara, that is famous because that's in a fixed position. All the stars move, but Dhruva Tara stays in the same position. So Dhruva means fixed in his determination. He was also a disciple, just like Prahlad, he was also a disciple of Narad Muni. So his Vatma Pradashak Guru, or the Guru who indicated him the proper path, was his mother, who suggested that you can find Vishnu in the forest. So Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest to perform tapasya for the sake of attaining the benediction of Lord Vishnu. And Narad Muni came to him and said, don't do this. It's not meant for 5-year-old boys. Just go back to the home. Dhruva Maharaj said, Narad Muni, I offer my respects to you, but I'm not going to follow your instruction. He was fixed in his determination. Now, is that Guru Avagya, disobeying the orders of the Guru? No, because Narad Muni was just testing him to see how strong he was in his intent. In the section of Srimad Bhagavatam in which Srila Prabhupada describes the character of Dhruva Maharaj, he states that it is not at all difficult to go back to Godhead. One just has to be as fixed and determined as Dhruva Maharaj. So, in one sentence Prabhupada says it's not difficult to go back to Godhead. And then he says you just have to be as determined as Dhruva Maharaj. But Dhruva Maharaj is, that very name means fixed, because his fixedness in devotional service is exceptional. It's not that every devotee, his story is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj's story is there because of his extraordinary determination in devotional service. So, for most devotees to have, or for almost any devotee to have that standard of fixedness in devotional service we can't even imagine. Therefore, we should be very careful to avoid bad association, because we see that many devotees, they take up Krishna consciousness, but then again, due to bad association, they fall away from the path. Ashradadhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mang nevartante mrityu sangsara varnani. Can you give the translation of that? Those who are not resolute on the path of devotional service, whose faith is not fixed, they do not attain me, Krishna says, but they go back to the world of birth and death. So we see that sometimes people take to Krishna consciousness, but again they become entangled in sinful activities and they go away from the proper practice of Krishna consciousness. Once in India, one gentleman came to Srila Prabhupada, he was in a shocked mood. He said, some of your Western disciples, I saw them fighting. Prabhupada said, you're surprised that they're fighting, I'm surprised that they're chanting Hare Krishna. They're fighting anyway they're doing, due to the kusanskara, or the bad birth or the bad upbringing they've had. Their tendency is to fight, but they don't fight most of the time, and they do chant a lot of Hare Krishna also. You might be surprised to hear that in the early days of our movement, in the GBC meetings, or the meetings of the top leaders, there used to be a lot of shouting and fighting and like this. It's actually very difficult for people nowadays, or especially in India, to understand what kind of people Srila Prabhupada made his first disciples, the hippies in the Western world. Of course, we can understand that they're all great souls to have taken the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and did such tremendous service in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. But at least from the external point of view, with many of them, or I'm also one of them, many of us, there was a thick layer of these bad upbringing and the bad characteristics. So in the early days of the movement, out of maybe some ambition to please Srila Prabhupada, the devotees, they wanted to show I'm doing so much, and there was some kind of competition like that. So nowadays it's not like that. So we can understand the purifying effect of the process of Krishna consciousness. So to get the determination as strong as Dhruva or Prahlad, it may not be possible for us. But our determination should be, let me go on with the process of Krishna consciousness. How was Srila Prabhupada able to preach Krishna consciousness in the Western world, where Kam, Krodh and Lobh are so strong? There's no culture of respect to sadhus or to anyone for that matter. Many times when Prabhupada was preaching in the Western world, people would be very rude to him. Prabhupada was able to, he would maintain his determination. There may be several several reasons for how he was able to do that. So Prabhupada, one of the reasons is that he had great faith in the purifying effect of the process of Krishna conscious Bhakti Yoga. Srila Prabhupada had great faith that if people go on chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, then they will become purified. In Kali Yuga, everyone, to a greater or lesser extent, is influenced by these demoniac qualities. We can look in our own hearts and see if we are free from Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. And most of us, if we're honest, then we have to admit that it's not so easy to be free from these demoniac qualities. Even if we're chanting Hare Krishna, still we seem to be attached to that which is inauspicious. And sometimes devotees, they become disappointed. Oh, I just can't seem to overcome my lower nature. But we should have faith that if we continue with the process of Krishna consciousness, Krishna will certainly help us. But we have to practice very seriously. We can't expect that practicing seriously and not practicing seriously, the effect will be the same. As much as we cultivate Krishna consciousness and pray for the mercy of Krishna and the Acharyas, we will become purified. But there is a difference. There is Dhridavrata, those who are determined to follow. Lord Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-gita, Satatam kirtayanto mang yatanta dhridavrataha. Those who are Mahatmas, they always glorify me and engage in devotional service with a great vow. So some devotees, they may think, well, we don't have to be so strict. But definitely there is a difference between, for instance, taking only Krishna prasadam and thinking, well, it doesn't matter if we sometimes buy some biscuits from the shop and eat them, it's all the same, it's vegetarian, we can offer them. But that will, taking food which is not offered to Krishna, that will contaminate the consciousness. Or if we think that, well, I don't have to rise very early, it's not very important. But then we have to consider why all our acharyas have directed us to rise early and practice Krishna consciousness in the Brahma Muhurta. So the aim is to be a pure devotee of Krishna. We can be mixed devotees. It's just, when you're offering in the yagya, you say, Idam Narayanaya Namama. This is offering to Narayan, not for me. But if you're offering, you pour a little bit and you say, Idam Narayanaya, and pour some on the side. Then Idam Mama. This part's for Narayan, this part's for me. I give something to Narayan, but not everything. I should keep some opportunity for sense gratification for myself. Well, this is not really bhakti. That means we're trying to be a devotee and a demon at the same time. It doesn't really work, because we can't really offer anything to Krishna unless we do so with pure consciousness. Krishna will not be satisfied unless we're really trying to become purified. So at least the endeavor must be there to be purified. We may not even expect that many people will take this up. Sometimes people say, well, this group has so many followers and that group has so many followers, but we don't see so many followers of the Hare Krishna. That's true. If we said that, well, you don't have to follow any principles, just do whatever you like and chant Hare Krishna sometimes, we might get many followers. But they wouldn't really be followers because they're not really following anything. Sometimes they say, well, this Swami has so many followers. But if he says that there's nothing to follow, then what are they following? So our motto is, Ekas Chandrastamo Hanti Kimna Tara Gano Picha, Kimna Tara Koti Picha, that one moon is better than millions of stars. Srila Prabhupada gave the example that if you're selling diamonds, you may not get many customers. The glass bead salesman gets so many customers. You're not even allowed in the jewelry shop, and you see there's a guard at the door with a gun, and they won't even allow you. You think they want more customers to come, but in the jewelry shop, they won't even allow you to come unless they see what class of person you are. Because anyone can buy glass baubles, but you have to have some qualification to buy genuine gold, silver, diamond jewelry. Qualification is one should have sufficient money. So the number of customers may be less, but the quality is greater. To an untrained person, imitation jewelry and genuine jewelry may look the same, but it doesn't have the same quality or value. And one person with genuine jewelry is in a better position than 100 people with imitation jewelry. Of course, course, this is a materialistic or material analogy. But it is an analogy to show that one has to have some qualification to take to Krishna consciousness. That qualification is one has to be very serious to surrender to Krishna. And one person who is seriously practicing Krishna consciousness is in a better position than hundreds who are not. So this Krishna conscious movement is meant for being preached to save people from the demoniac qualities. But at the same time, we're not interested in marketing counterfeit goods. Counterfeit means bogus, cheating. Counterfeit literally means when you print money, which is not government authorized. That's called counterfeit. So counterfeit good means it looks the same, but it's bogus. That's an important word. No, I'm saying for preaching because it's a word we use a lot. Counterfeit means it looks like the same, but if you're caught with it, you'll be arrested for it. So don't go to the counterfeit path. Srila Prabhupada starts this purport by saying in this verse, the royal road to hell is described. So we want to go on the Rajapath to Krishna. Pata Sampadam Asurim. In this verse is described the wealth or the qualities of the demon. But the sampad for going on the path to Krishna is not lots of money or prestige or any such thing. Decorations on the character of a pure devotee are humility, pridelessness, nirabhimanaha, strong desire to serve Krishna. So the whole world is filled with all these bad qualities. People do not know what is right and what is wrong. Ajnana, this is the basis of the demoniac tendency. So we are trying to reform the world and bring everyone into the blissful Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But for that we have to give knowledge of what is the actual path. So therefore we are distributing these books and preaching the knowledge in these books which Srila Prabhupada has given us. And our devotees also have to study very carefully these books, become free from ignorance, and try to become an instrument in helping others to become free from ignorance. By the power of Krishna consciousness, people of demoniac nature can change. We have to have that faith. Practically we can see that. Srila Prabhupada demonstrated that even the most fallen can become great devotees. So as we see the character of people going down year by year, week by week, day by day, we become more inspired to preach Krishna consciousness. Really, this is the only hope for human society. Otherwise, everyone's on the royal road to hell. Hare Krishna. Is there any question, please? Abhimana. Say the question. Well, here it's translated as conceit. I'll just say it in English and I'll translate it conceit. Conceit is an English word which means a kind of very self-centered kind of pride. A kind of narcissistic kind of pride. It means narcissistic means very much promoting oneself and thinking I'm much better than others. It's a synonym of pride. But abhiman, another meaning of that is the sense of self-identity, which also means conceit. It's an archaic use of the word conceit. Sorry, conceit is that's an archaic usage of conceit. So in this material world, we all have what's called purusha abhiman. The consciousness of considering oneself an enjoyer. Instead of considering myself Prakriti to be enjoyed by Krishna, we identify ourselves as enjoyers separate from Krishna. So abhimana is often considered a synonym of ahankar. It's similar. Egoism. It means a sense of self-identity, and in material consciousness it means a self-centeredness. But the pure abhimana is to consider oneself a servant of Krishna. Just like we say that the cowherd boys in Vrindavan, they have a certain kind of abhiman, a way of thinking. I'm a cowherd boy. I'm like this. I relate to Krishna like this. So that abhimana or sense of self-identity, that is not wrong because it is for the sake of serving Krishna. The Mayavadis, they say we should get rid of all sense of I-ness. We should not identify I at all. But we don't say that. We should give up the false identity of thinking myself separate from Krishna. But we should identify ourselves that I am the servant of 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 Krishna. If we say, I want to give up my identity, that is another kind of envy of Krishna. Because it means to say that I don't want to serve Krishna. I don't recognize that my position is to serve Krishna. So that's a kind of ego, that's also a negative egoism of avoiding Krishna or denying Krishna the service that is meant to Him. We are not meant for personal enjoyment. We are meant to act for Krishna's enjoyment. Someone who is frustrated in their endeavors to enjoy this material world may think that I shall cease to exist. I shall snuff my personality, snuff out my personality. But actual pure consciousness is to think that I should not enjoy this material world. I should act as a servant of Krishna. But the asuras, or the so-called sadhus, who are mayavadis, who are actually demons, they say, I shall not enjoy, and Krishna, he should also not enjoy. So they're also demons. Anything else? Just try to understand, the scientists, for all their claims, do not create life. They manipulate the material nature which provides vessels for life in this material world, for the Atma vessels for the Atma to repose in within this material world. This test tube baby is nothing new. Duryodhan, Dushashan, they were all test tube babies. You don't know that? They don't know? Well, then read the Mahabharata. Why don't you have Mahabharata classes once a week? No, really. In Baroda, I had Jai Damodar do that. And actually, they get very good attendance, because people like to hear the story. They should know also all these things. So, well, they may be like Duryodhan. Not that bad. In Kali Yuga, there's lots of little demons, not big demons like Hiranyakashipu. They're bad enough, though.
Since they're born in test tube, they become...
Well, pretty much everyone born in the modern age, test tube or no test tube. You see, what the average normal person, how they live in the modern world, is actually demoniac. Everyone is engaging in sinful activity. What's going on? There's another class going on now? Yeah. In Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna states, Manushanang sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhya yatatam api siddhanang kaschin mang veti tapvataha. So we can't expect many people to come to Krishna consciousness. But at the present time, by the extraordinary mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even people who are normally not qualified, if they simply take this holy name of Krishna with faith, then many people can take to Krishna consciousness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has predicted that this preaching of his names will go to every town and village in the world. So it will expand more and more by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But in Kali Yuga, the demons, they're getting strength by the influence of the age. And therefore, so many cheaters are coming out and people are attracted to. Sach bole tomare lati jhoot jagat mohai. Prabhupada used to quote that if you speak the truth, people will beat you with a stick. And if you talk all nonsense to them, they'll be very nice. You're all God. Yes. All right. I am God, you just worship me, and then all your problems will go away. And people have to be very stupid to believe in these bogus avatars. And that's what they are. They're very stupid. And there are very many very stupid people. Otherwise, the bogus avatars would just be working in a factory. But they found it's, easier to make a living by becoming God. So people are stupid, but by preaching Krishna consciousness, they can become enlightened. We have to push on this movement with faith, that people can become purified. Srila Prabhupada said that our determination is that we can work all our lives just to bring even one person to Krishna consciousness. But he also said, quoting his own Guru Maharaj, that to bring one person to Krishna consciousness takes 200 gallons of blood. That means if we really want to change people, we have to put in effort. Even people come to Krishna consciousness, it is a constant training process, seeing their online properly. And in Kali Yuga, even people come to be disciples, but then if anyone tries to tell them they come for correction, for training, but then if anyone tries to correct them, then they become upset. So it requires the determination that we can learn from Srila Prabhupada to go on preaching despite all reasons. There may be reasons for disappointment. We have our duty to do, and even if everyone rejects us, still our desire is that let us try to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. Our connection is with our Acharyas. We're not connected with this material. Then I will finish now. It's getting late. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki